Hey guys, I want to go over something with you guys. This is a game, it's called Forza Horizon 3. It's really fun. I want to give you my perspective, a kind of should you buy it thing, and just what I think about it. So if you're familiar with Forza games, specifically the Horizon games, you'll know it's kind of an open world, drive wherever you want, do races, that kind of stuff game. It's really great, and there's tons of stuff to do in the newest installment, which is Forza Horizon 3, what's on the screen right now. So one of the new things, or one of the things I should say, that's in the game, is that you run a festival. It's called the Horizon Festival, and the whole goal is to expand it, to make it bigger, to get it like popular, kind of a hit thing. And the game takes place in Australia, so how you start is you start at a festival site, which is like a site where like things take place, kind of like one of the meetups of the festival. And from there, you can win races, you can expand the festivals, which is kind of how you progress through the game. You can expand them and make it into a much bigger thing. And then from there you can build up the festivals, make them the sites, and make them bigger than they are, like level 2 festival site, level 3, and so on. And so that's kind of how you progress. But beyond that, you can go online and you can drive around with your friends or strangers and just play around and have a really good time. And you can cruise with them, you can do races with them, you could whatever. And that's a real blast. Like, that's really fun. So, what else can you do in the game? Well, for one, there's something called bucket list events. And those events are basically just doing crazy things that you would pretty much never do in real life just because YOLO. There's things like drifting competitions, going like crazy off-road things. That's pretty fun. Then there's normal serious races, which is also really fun, especially if you're playing against people you know. Uh, and it really resembles like what Forza is about, what the original Forza Motorsport series is about. Um, Now, as you can see right here, the graphics are pretty stunning. Like, they're awesome. The reflections are nice. Everything's nice about it. I'm not a huge graphics person, so that's not like a deal breaker if they weren't like this. But it's really nice to have in terms of, looking impressive and playing very smoothly and nicely. Now, as far as car customization goes, there's a lot of it. So I'll just go over the basics. There is painting it, there's putting spoilers on it, there's tinting the windows, there's what else? Changing the ride height. Now, some of this stuff does get into upgrading it, which I'll get into after. You could create your own vinyls. You can put them wherever you want. And I'm sure there's stipulations as far as what you can actually put online because of appropriateness. But you can make your own license plate, like mine right there. You can change what horn you have in the car, and all kinds of crazy stuff. You can put on different aerodynamic bumpers and stuff, which I don't think I have. I don't know if I have it on the back installed in this car, but the front definitely has one. It's like a racing one. Anyways, as far as upgrading goes, like as far as actually doing stuff that'll really affect the game, you can change spoilers, you can change stuff in the engine, such as like crankshafts, anything that you can think of, pretty much. Um, there is a like you can put in turbochargers, superchargers. You can change out the wheels, change out the tires, and that gives you different weighting and grip and stuff. You can put on spoilers and adjust them, which actually affects your aerodynamics, which is awesome. There's tons of stuff like that. There's like if you put lighter tires on, it lightens up the whole car, but then that you might have trouble with it kind of rolling because there's less weight on the bottom. But you can figure that stuff out. So as far as actual realism goes, it's there's settings to it. So you can have realistic damage, cosmetic damage, or no damage. Like I have no damage on this car right now. It might get a little bit dirty, but that's not actual physical damage. Like my car will not, this car as it is right now, will not get scratched, dented, anything like that. However, you can turn it on so it will get scratched and dented. It won't look as good as something like Beam and G Drive. Not that it has to, because that's craziness. But like it's kind of arcade style damage almost, where you won't. It's just kind of everything's cosmetic. But if you turn on more realistic damage mode, stuff will actually start happening to the car. It'll pull to one side, it'll slow down, the brakes won't work well, stuff happens. And that will affect your racing. Now, what you get in return is when you're doing a race, once you finish the race, it'll give you more currency, more if you put the settings harder, because you're obviously doing more. You're giving yourself like a little disability almost as far as competing against the other people. But so you get more money in return. Now, like I said, as far as realisticness goes, like you see going off this jump, I take absolutely no damage. A real car would be crumpled, crushed. Of course, there's upgrades. Like you get a roll cage, and what that does is it makes it so that the car, like the actual body of the car, I guess, sways less. So that's nice. And that affects the handling, obviously. There's ride height, which affects the handling. And there's all that kind of stuff. So, if I had to say something about this game, I would say it's pretty awesome. My overall thoughts on it are that if you like cars, if you like customizing stuff, if you like racing, if you like playing online with other people, your friends, if your friends have it, then I would highly recommend this game. Like, I'm going to use it as an example. This was pretty much the reason I originally got an Xbox, because I was building a PC, and this game is available on PC. And I believe there's crossplay from Xbox to PC. That's something new that they're trying to bring in. But in the meantime, just to play this game almost, that's one of the big reasons I got an Xbox. Like, this is the game that I got day one. So that should tell you it's a pretty good game if you like cars. I think what drew me to it really was the online capabilities and the fact that it's open world. So you can be in your car, you could cruise around with your friends in this vast, open Australian place, and it's a lot of fun. If I had to nitpick something about the game, this is because I live not in Australia, is that a lot of people, like right there, don't drive on the left side of the road, which I'm completely used to. Or should I say, they're not like facing you coming from the left side of the road. You don't drive on the right side of the road, you drive on the left, which is, it's a learning curve, but it's really not bad at all, especially when you're playing a game like this where it's open world. Like, you don't care. A lot of times you're just going to be off-roading or screwing around, like doing jumps. Now, what I was mentioning before, or what I mentioned maybe a minute ago, it's available for PC, Xbox, and that's it. You will not find this on any Sony systems, Nintendo systems, nothing like that. It's just PC and Xbox, nothing else. And that's due to the fact that it's an exclusive game, and that's how Microsoft and pretty much every other company rolls. So, I would rate this game, if I had to rate it, I would rate it very highly for just the way it plays, the graphics. I heard it's a big step up from the previous games, Forza Horizon 2 and the first one. And it's just a really, really fun game. I enjoy like geeking around and upgrading the cars, making them look nice. Like right now I have these race tires on it. And it's just a really fun game. So stay tuned for more. Subscribe if you want. It would help me a ton. And thank you. Goodbye.